The frantic pounding on my front door echoed like a warning that shattered the quiet afternoon air. Christine stood outside fuming with her phone clutched tightly in one shaking hand. She screamed that she had just dialed 911 because my shed was now a public eyesore. My pulse quickened, but I forced myself to stay calm and open the door slowly. This entire ridiculous war began 6 months earlier when I bought my first house here. The suburban neighborhood looked picture-perfect with its matching lawns and white fences everywhere. I wanted a simple practical shed in the backyard for my tools and weekend gardening projects. The construction took one peaceful weekend with the smell of fresh lumber filling the warm spring breeze. Everything seemed fine until the first official HOA violation notice showed up in my mailbox. Christine introduced herself as president and declared my shed an unacceptable ugly eyesore in her letter. She demanded I repaint or remove it to match the strict community aesthetic standards immediately. I complied without complaint and covered the whole structure in a bland approved beige color. Yet another notice arrived claiming the new paint still failed their ridiculous approval process. She started driving by my house daily like some self-appointed neighborhood sheriff on patrol. Neighbors began whispering and giving me awkward side glances during the weekly block parties. Rumors quickly spread that my property was destroying everyone's precious property values in the area. Fines started stacking up in my mailbox faster than I could even keep track of them. I tried to reason with her during one of her unannounced visits to my front porch. Christine, the situation is getting completely out of hand and feels totally unfair to me. Her reply came laced with pure condescension as she quoted the bylaws like a power-hungry tyrant. Rules exist for a reason and I enforce them equally for every single resident here. The harassment grew worse when she pulled other board members into her personal crusade against me. Invitations to neighborhood events mysteriously dried up as social pressure mounted around the community. I felt the walls closing in, but I refused to let her break my spirit so easily. One sleepless night I searched online for the most creative legal way to fight back hard. I found a talented 3D artist named Marcus who specialized in mind-bending optical illusion murals. Marcus listened to my full story and immediately jumped at the chance to create something special. He sketched a brilliant concept that would turn the shed into a hyper-realistic forest scene. The idea was to make the entire structure vanish into a lush three-dimensional woodland illusion. Work started early the following week under bright sunny skies with ladders set up in the yard. The backyard came alive with the rhythmic sound of brushes stroking across the wooden panels steadily. Sharp acrylic paint fumes mixed with the sweet scent of blooming flowers all around us. Marcus explained every layer as he built incredible depth and lifelike texture with expert precision. Trees appeared to reach outward from the walls with branches that popped in realistic 3 dimensions. Leaves shimmered with detailed veins under the changing sunlight throughout each long working day. From the street, the shed now blended perfectly into an endless enchanted forest backdrop. Passers-by slowed their cars to stare in open-mouthed awe at the stunning visual trickery unfolding. Neighbors began knocking on my door just to compliment the incredible artistic masterpiece enthusiastically. Photos of the mural flooded local social media groups with waves of positive, excited comments. Christine spotted the change during her usual patrol and completely lost her composure on the spot. She charged up to my property line with fists clenched tight in visible, uncontrollable fury. "This grotesque mural is even worse than the original ugly shed," she yelled across the yard. I stepped outside calmly and met her wild gaze without ever raising my voice once. The rules say nothing about prohibiting beautiful art that actually improves the neighborhood view, I countered. Her face twisted with rage as she threatened immediate legal action and police involvement right then. That very afternoon she followed through by calling emergency services directly on her cell phone. Police sirens wailed through the quiet streets as 2 officers pulled up to my driveway soon after. The officers stepped out looking utterly puzzled by the beautiful mural and our petty dispute. Christine ranted wildly about safety hazards and community standards violations to the bewildered cops. One officer scratched his head and chuckled softly while examining the optical illusion up close. "Sir, this seems like clear artistic expression rather than any actual crime," he stated firmly. Her authority cracked right there as the police refused to side with her ridiculous claims. I began secretly recording every future interaction to build an ironclad case for later use. Emails and voicemails piled up with her increasingly desperate and unhinged demands over the weeks. In one careless message, she accidentally admitted to enforcing rules selectively against certain residents only. That slip-up became the key evidence I needed for the upcoming HOA board confrontation. The emergency meeting was called for the community center on a humid Friday evening. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as board members settled into their uncomfortable folding chairs. Christine opened the meeting with a dramatic presentation full of exaggerated claims and cherry-picked photos. Her voice boomed with false confidence as she demanded the mural's immediate and total destruction. Then I stood up and presented my carefully organized folder of documented proof to everyone. I played the audio clips where she confessed to favoritism toward her inner circle of friends. Gasps rippled through the room as the full hypocrisy of her leadership became crystal clear. Board members shifted uncomfortably while exchanging glances filled with growing discomfort and doubt. I followed up by showing photos of her own unpermitted backyard additions hidden from public view. The silence that followed was absolutely deafening as the truth sank in for every single person. A motion was made to remove her from the president position effective immediately after the vote. The vote passed unanimously with even her former allies turning against her in total shock. Christine's face drained of all color as she gathered her things and stormed out silently. The new board quickly voted to approve my mural as a valuable artistic contribution to the community. All outstanding fines against me were dropped without any further discussion or pointless delay. The neighborhood slowly returned to its former peaceful and friendly atmosphere once again. People now stop by my yard just to admire the forest mural and chat casually. Children point at the realistic deer and birds with wide-eyed wonder and pure delight. I sit back on my porch swing each evening watching the sunset paint the scene golden. The mind-bending illusion still tricks my own eyes on certain cloudy afternoons beautifully. Christine has retreated into the shadows and rarely shows her face in public anymore. Her reign of petty tyranny ended not with a bang but with pure artistic brilliance. Sometimes I chuckle to myself about how a simple shed sparked such an absurd saga. The real lesson here is that small-time tyrants always crumble under the weight of their own arrogance. My backyard paradise stands as a living testament to creativity triumphing over mindless bureaucracy forever. And the forest mural continues to bring smiles while quietly reminding me of that sweet, satisfying victory.